So this is from a very close friend of mine, Şebnem Aksan, Turkish woman in Istanbul. Just received your announcement of Betty's passing. Yolu açık olsun, which means may your way be open in Turkish. May his soul be in peace. She was a remarkable woman and a great companion for your father, and was a wonderful second mother to you, also for your children and grandmother. Also for your children and grandmother. This one is from somebody I'm not sure. Oh, it's from Bill and Ann Edmonds, who are missionaries in Turkey. The image we have of Betty from the one time we met her is of a gracious woman. She embodies what we think of as what a friend, in capital, could be. Her passing diminishes us. This is from Mary Dewar, an old friend of my father's and therefore friend of Betty's. Betty, though English, encapsulated all that was good about the state. Optimism, dynamism, warm-hearted good humor, and boundless energy.
This is from Peyton Craig Hill. I got to know Betty best in a setting that must have been strange to her. Merrily, her sister-in-law and my brother's wife, worked that year with others to organize a wonderful trip to Greece for a week of sailing camp and another week of cruising the wine-dark sea between islands known to Homer. For me, as an avid sailor with many years' experience, this was a great adventure. But for Betty, who as Bill was also on board for this odyssey, this was a strange, new experience. Her assignment was to be in charge of the ship-to-ship telephone to keep us in touch with the other boats in our flotilla, and in particular with the boat used by our professional leaders. With her somewhat impaired hearing and lack of nautical experience, this must have been a trial for her. But, as with a multitude of other new experiences in her life, she rose to the occasion and kept us in touch with the network with her usual good cheer. I think this was so like Betty, taking on a difficult job in unfamiliar surroundings and doing her best to keep everybody in communication with each other. I thank God for giving me the privilege of calling Betty my friend.
This is from Hazel Shellums. We have so many happy memories of her going back to 1967 when she came out to Skikda as director of the Quaker team in which we were serving. She and Bill have seen our children grow up and kept faithfully in touch year after year, always contacting us when they were in England and usually visiting us. And when they finally gave up their flat in Oxford, she bequeathed some bedrooms to us, which I am still using, and a much-thumbed copy of Delilah Smith's Complete Cookery Course, which is a permanent fixture on my kitchen shelf, so she will never be far away from us. But what I treasure most is the fact that Betty introduced me to the works of Thomas Kelly, sending me a copy of The Simplification of Life when she could see, but I could not, that I was taking too much on and had not sorted out my priorities. She did not say anything, just sent the pamphlet with her love. That was Betty.
This is from Bernie Steinson. It is almost half a life ago we first met Betty, shortly before she and Bill married at Friends meeting in Kings Hall, Columbia University. We were, as affections go, immediately taken by her natural graciousness, regardless of what one said, and oh, that laugh. She fully confirmed the view that the American Revolution should not have happened. She and Bill enlarged ourselves as international citizens, as did friends we made through them. Bill, who comes from a family of medical doctors with a broad view of engagement that reached into Turkey, was then chief public health official in Manhattan. Betty worked at the National Council of Churches, focusing way back then on altering the isolation of Cuba and increasing our comprehension of Latin America. Each of us who are here are unable to be a celebrant, have our particular stories of moments in Betty's presence. Yet they all have the same effect. They bring us together as friends, whether friends capitalized or not. As one gets on through years, when memories often serve as consolation, we all smile, recalling Betty. One story I must say briefly. During the Second World War, when women were first became members of the military, Betty was a high-ranking Wren. American military women were waxed. Modest as she was, we learned only a dozen or so years ago of her contribution to the Nuremberg trials. She found the document certifying the Nazi plan for the final solution. So I recall Betty every time there is a reference to war and genocidal crime courts in the Hague. As she did, we hope to go gently into that good night.
From Edna Wagshaw. I loved hearing about some of her life experiences, and once she even came to me, an older married woman, with a question about marriage, since she and Bill had only been married so recently. I don't even remember the question, but I remember feeling so complimented because she, an accomplished and very knowledgeable woman, asked me, a younger woman, to share some of my experiences. This is from Van LeBoy. You never knew what a mentor you were to me, Betty. When I met you, I was 21, a few months out of college, and into an internship with Friends Committee on National Legislation. I was looking for how, in the world of work, to act on my concerns about U.S. policy and use my Latin American background. I met you in 1970 at a William Penn House program. You probably spoke about opening doors between Cuba and the United States. You didn't give me answers, but you affirmed my quest. You gave me a name for the role I was seeking for myself, interpreter. It was a role you saw yourself playing too, someone who helps change attitudes and policies by bridging cultural and political divides. The courage with which you've inspired me is the courage to keep serving joyfully, seeing that of God in every person, never caring what title or position you held, never letting yourself be defined by anything other than your faith and values. This is from Marigold Best. I first met Betty in Philadelphia in 1986. Betty was full of good advice and kindliness, and I was delighted to encounter her